Last night's shooting happened in front of this house on Beach 68th Street, and the residents of the home say that they heard between 5 to 6 gunshots. One of those bullets went right through their fence here, and they say even more went directly into their house while they were sitting in the living room. That thick black smoke that we were able to see from miles away, that is no longer lingering in the air. But that doesn't mean that the fire has been put out. The FDNY says that'll take days before that happens, so they are working around the clock to ensure that that happens. And now, decades of police evidence has been burned and destroyed. I did also donate blood today. That's why I have this wrapped around my arm here. And I did also get my voucher for 2 tickets for upcoming games. So if you get here soon enough, you'll be able to get your voucher as well, too. Witnesses tell us that they barricaded themselves inside of a patient room once they heard those gunshots go off. And Mayor Eric Adams just left the hospital after he was briefed by the NYPD on how this shooting played out. It happened in the waiting room area of the emergency room where police are still investigating. Police also tell us that the 35-year-old victim was at the emergency room for a previous injury but is now undergoing surgery in his left forearm where he was shot. We're also told that the suspect was waiting in line to speak with someone at the hospital, and that's when police say the two exchanged looks and words and got into an argument. The suspect fired 4 shots and ran away. A local city council member also speaking out on today's shooting.
My first plea.
A spokesperson for Jacobi Medical Center echoing that same message and telling Pix 11 News in part, this was a cowardly act in a space where New Yorkers come for healing and care. Our healthcare heroes swiftly took care of the shooting victim and took actions to protect the other patients in the waiting room. Our immediate focus is on caring for the patient and ensuring the safety of our staff. We are working closely with the NYPD as they conduct their investigation. And police are canvassing the area for the suspect and going over surveillance footage. The victim, we're told, is expected to be okay. We're live outside Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx. Michelle Ross, Pix 11 News. There was a strong show of support here tonight, both physically in numbers and spiritually, for the officer who was killed last night in Harlem and the other officer who is clinging for his life. And community leaders say that if you know someone who has a gun, to speak up and say something.
I have the facts of my police officer.
Mayor Eric Adams reaffirming his support for the men and women in blue after 22-year-old NYPD rookie Jason Rivera was fatally shot by a suspect with a stolen gun while responding to a domestic incident in Harlem Friday night. A second officer who was also shot by the same suspect is fighting for his life in the hospital.
I don't understand where is the outrage. I don't understand why every single New Yorker is not here standing with us. If it had been someone else who was killed by a cop, you would be out here. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed and embarrassed.
Purple bunting now hangs above the 32nd precinct, where hundreds of people, including dozens of NYPD members, gathered for a candlelight prayer vigil.
We will rally behind him, God.
Violence won't divide us. It will unite us.
The mayor is calling for help from the federal government to stop the flow of illegal guns coming into the city and state. Attorney General Letitia James is on board.
We're joining with states all across the I-95 to establish a task force to end gun violence.
But while they say police can only do so much, it's up to the neighborhood to speak up as well.
When we know that our children have guns, it's our obligation to let the police know.
Absolutely.
When we know that our neighbors have guns, it's our obligation to let the police know.
And the mayor says that there's another part to this story that he doesn't want anyone to forget, and that's that 2 out of the 3 officers who responded in Harlem last night weren't born in this country. One is from the Dominican Republic, the other from India, and the third is a first generation. So he says when we talk about the immigrant contribution to this city, we better not forget that they put their lives on the line for this city. We're live outside the 32nd precinct in Harlem. Michelle Ross, Pix 11 News.
I'm just reattaching my brake.
Working on bicycles means being given another opportunity at life for Quansay Herring.
I literally knew nothing about bikes. I did not know the complexity of bikes. I did not even know bikes had more than 5 parts.
The 20-year-old was in the juvenile justice system and says the court referred him to a jail alternative program. Determined to learn a new skill, he got accepted into the Bike Path program at the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
We strived to kind of level the playing field and give people second chances. Finding a good quality, stable job that pays well is not easy, especially when you've had so many barriers in your life.
The program is a partnership between Bike New York and One Community. In 4 weeks, students of all ages and backgrounds learn to become bike mechanics to hopefully be employed by a company called Motivate to work on city bikes.
If Motivate likes them after they interview them and see what they could do, they'll hire them. If they don't have to. So far, every one of our students got hired.
They're getting close to their 100th job placement.
You always want to make sure you go back and forth, back and forth.
Nellie Wilkins is 41 and has many trades. She says it's never too late to learn a new one.
I'm already messing with the gears. I'm already fixing brakes. I done took my wheel off, put it back on. Yes, I've done a lot with the bikes.
She actually already has a job lined up to start working on the city bikes and can't wait to begin. Assembly member Emily Gallagher allocated a $10,000 grant, which helps extend the program into the end of the year. The bikes they work on are donated. Many are in bad shape. But just like the students, they're given a second chance too.
Instead of these bikes going to the scrapyard or the garbage, like as if somebody left them on the side of the street, we're actually diagnosing the problems and one by one taking care of these problems.
And in 2 weeks, they will have a beautiful graduation ceremony here at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. They'll receive their certificates and then start applying to those jobs at City Bike. The program hopes to extend to all 5 boroughs. At the Brooklyn Navy Yard, Michelle Ross, Pix 11 News.